attempt at his Florida golf course on Sunday afternoon. U.S. authorities have confirmed that a potential suspect named as Ryan Ruth is in custody. We have more on this in the next report.
The FBI has revealed that it is investigating what appears to be an attempted assassination of Donald Trump at his Florida golf club. Reports say Mr. Trump was not harmed in the incident. The Secret Service had spotted a rifle barrel sticking out of a fence, and agents fired at a man who was in the bushes along the perimeter, according to Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw.
We've deployed a number of resources, including investigative teams, crisis response team members, bomb technicians, and evidence response team members as well. What we need right now is for the public to avoid the area around the golf course. We will continue to support this investigation with the full resources of the FBI.
The suspect fled in a car and was detained after being stopped on the highway. The person detained is Ryan Wesley Ruth, according to 3 law enforcement sources. Mr. Ruth, who owns a small construction company in Hawaii, had criticized Mr. Trump on social media and is a staunch supporter of Ukraine. Reports say the suspect was 300 to 500 yards away from Mr. Trump as law enforcement found an AK-47 style rifle, GoPro camera, and backpacks where the suspect was positioned.
Call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great. So we had that information. Our real-time crime center put it out to the license plate readers. And we were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County.
Meanwhile, global leaders are reacting to the Trump assassination attempt. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he and his wife Sarah were shocked by the second assassination attempt against President Trump and were relieved to hear that it too failed. He advised that all measures should be taken to ensure that such deadly attacks on a candidate for the U.S. presidency will be foiled in advance. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese expressed concern and said it is a good thing Trump is safe. Similarly, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban revealed on social media that it is clear that Mr. Trump's life is in danger until his victory. Though the FBI says it is investigating what appears to be an attempted assassination on Donald Trump, just 2 months after an attempt to kill the Republican president nominee at a Pennsylvania rally, investigators expect a federal court in South Florida to require a mental health assessment of the suspect before any possible criminal proceedings, a law enforcement source said.
I have joining me the CEO, PR24 Risk Management and a fellow Nigerian Institute of Industrial Security, Onyekachi Adekoya. He joins me via Zoom from the United Kingdom. Good to have you join us. So, 2 attempts on assassination attempts on former President Donald Trump's life in just about 3 months. I mean, what does this tell you about the security and safety of presidential candidates in the U.S.?
We live in a period of political unrest where sentiments and emotions are somewhat elevated. 2 attempts in just barely 3 months doesn't really, in terms of security preparedness, doesn't really give you much. It's an attempt. It didn't succeed. In the first instance, the spotters on the roof, yes, you can argue that after 3 shots rang out, successfully eliminated the threat. In this instance, the Secret Service had increased the personnel. There was an advance party. I think from the reports we've gotten, there were layers and things of protection around the president, and the layer did work in this instance. I know there's hysteria about the report. Investigations are still ongoing. All that we know is that a would-be shooter was spotted with a rifle, and this time spotted early, apprehended and arrested. It doesn't say so much. I mean, for American presidents, we've had at least 4 American presidents assassinated. The most popular one we know is John F. Kennedy. And again, if you look at, I think 3 out of the 4 assassinations of American presidents, about 70% of these assassinations are really engendered by some form of political sentiment or some agitation. In one of, I think it's 1901, the assassination was because some parties were still angry over the actions that happened during the Integration Wars. So America is in that point where tensions are this high, and these attempts are expected. The FBI also expects it. The U.S. Secret Service expects it. It doesn't say this or that about the presidential candidates. We must remember that America is a place where you have a lot of guns in circulation. It just means that the threat is heightened. It doesn't say anything about this person or that person, if you ask me.
Security has been beefed up around that golf course and his residence, but that's just because of this particular incident. He's a former president and doesn't get the same level of security detail as a sitting president would. Many are now calling for a re-evaluation of his security. Considering what has happened in the last 3 months, do you agree with that call?
Yes, I would like to correct the point that while he does not get the same level of security as a sitting president, he still gets security as a former president. Now, he then gets security additional as the potential president going through the election, because, I mean, if you look at the polls, it's either between Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. So there's enough investment in security that is required and being provided. I do agree that the postmortem will be done, and then an assessment will be made whether or not additional security is needed. Well, now, the protection ring did not fail. It did its job. The would-be shooter was spotted, and the threat was dealt with immediately. And so I think when the investigation is concluded, then I think whoever has the judgment to make will make the decision whether to increase or decrease or maintain what Donald Trump currently has. The other major decision that must be made must be now by the presidential candidate himself, Donald Trump, whether to then take cognizance of the threat out there and adjust some of his meetings, his rallies, or where he hosts his rallies, outdoors or indoors. And that decision must now be made by the campaign office. But as we know, politicians are the same one. I would think that if we understand the person Donald Trump properly, he may be thinking that this would not stop him. As you saw during the first attempt, immediately when he was covered, he put up his face and was claiming that people should fight. So sometimes VIPs also duplicate protection around them. So we'll wait to see what happens, what the assessment is, and how the evaluation is reached, and what adjustments they have to make. So we'll just wait to see.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure to have you on the fellow Nigerian Institute of Industrial Security and CEO PR24 Risk Management, Oyekachi Adekoya.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's turn attention to Europe, where Germany has expanded border control measures with the crossings to all 9 of its neighboring countries now being checked. The checks implemented on Monday, what the government said are bids to curb entry of undocumented migrants, are due to last 6 months. Checks will now also cover Germany's borders with France, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Belgium and Denmark. The move has drawn criticism from other European Union members, rights groups and Brussels for disrupting the bloc's border-free Schengen zone. The controls include temporary physical structures at land crossings and spot checks by federal